The Fire Mage is probably the spec that changed the least from Cataclysm to MoP, and that's because it just freaking works. Fun rotation, good cleaving, good AoE, and crazy burst damage. Everything you love about the Fire Mage is still here, and now that we got some balance changes, they are looking to be one of the strongest casters in the game. For your talents, we're gonna be taking Presence of Mind. It's gonna give us an instant Pyroblast. Of course, Fire Pyroblast is a big boom boom, and this will give us an instant big boom boom. Then we are gonna be taking Temporal Shield. It is pretty much our only decent defensive cooldown. If you're farming dungeons, you should take Ice Barrier instead, but for raiding, we're gonna go for Temporal Shield pretty much every single time. Of course, then we are gonna take Ring of Frost, an AoE Frost Trap, an AoE Freezing Trap. I always mix both of them up. The one that stuns you, right? The one that pulls you a block of ice, they got an AoE version of that stays constant on the ground. Mages are mandatory in any fight that has adds because of the excellent, stupidly good control they possess. Ring of Frost is perhaps the best CC in the game, so it is really not a choice, you gotta take it. And for the other defensive, we're gonna take Cauterize. Cauterize is pretty much the same as Ardent Defender. If you take damage to die, you are just gonna go to 50% HP instead, like a second life, and you are gonna just take some of that damage as a dot to you, but you can actually use this for a lot of things. Of course, obviously, you are gonna survive when you die, when you make a mistake, whatever, but also there is a lot of mechanics that are gonna one-shot you, and Cauterize is gonna allow you to ignore those mechanics and just keep pumping and do more damage. That will also mean that as a mage, they might make you do certain tasks in a fight that only you can do because anybody else would die trying to cheese it. Once again, going back to the fact that mages are very important. After that, we are gonna take Living Bomb. It is the best AoE in this row anyway, and even on top of that, it is technically fire damage, and that's excellent when you're fired. Living Bomb is gonna make you the best cleaver in the game almost. It depends. The jury is still out on it. This is the latest balance change they got. They are messing with the classes constantly. But even if you're not the best cleaver in the game, you're gonna be pretty up there, okay? Be happy about it. Now the last talent is for mana, right? And mana is worthless to us. We got infinite mana really. We do not spend any mana as fire. So we are gonna take Invocation. Invocation is gonna give you 15% more damage after you finish an evocation for a full minute. Of course, that means you should try to pop your evocation before you start a fight with the boss. As you can see, they are not covered by the pre-pull changes, so doing a pre-pull evocate to get invocation for before the fight, it is still allowed, it will still work. So invocation for Frost and Fire is gonna be pretty much the best thing you can go. Arcane has to take Rune of Power for the mana, right? But mana is not a problem to you, so we are gonna take advantage of that. Now for the glyphs, we're gonna take the glyph of Combustion. It is double damage on Combustion. I don't think I have to explain to you why you need Combustion. Then we are gonna take the Cone of Cold glyph. Every mage gets this one actually. It's like 200% extra damage on Cone of Cold. That's a lot of boom boom, and you can do it while moving. It is actually not a bad thing to pop a Cone of Cold when you're just trying to reposition or something like that. We are not gonna be taking Ice Flows for the most part. You could if you really want to, you could. So having Cone of Cold for being able to do a global while moving is actually very useful to us. And finally, we're gonna take the Glyph of Inferno Blast for even more boom boom. Pyroblast, Ignite, and Combustion are gonna go to additional targets. This is why you are such a strong cleaver. Of course, the minor glyphs are all worthless. Your stat priority is gonna be Intellect, Intellect, Intellect. Intellect is spell power and it is a little bit of crit, and we want both. After that, we're gonna go for a hit cap of 15%, and after that, we're gonna go for Critical Strike. Crits give us dots. The Fire Mage is one of those classes that scale with crit very hard, and that's actually great because most casters in MoP do not like crit. So you can take crit haste pieces, which are usually terrible for everybody else, and you are actually balling on it. Next is gonna go haste. I am gonna link in the Discord a great add-on for haste. It's called Reforged Light. It will tell you exactly how much haste you need to hit a specific breaking point, because you got a bunch of dots. You got your Combustion, your Ignite, your Living Bomb, and your Pyroblast. It also has a dot on it. You should try to hit some sort of breaking point in whatever one of those spells. exactly that, and then you reforce your spare haste into crit. After that is gonna come mastery. What is our mastery? The same mastery as in Cataclysm. Every fire spell we do will turn into an additional dot, and that dot keeps stacking up and getting bigger. We call it the rolling ignite because you roll a snowball, right? The scaling of mastery is not great, and that's what keeps mastery down a little bit. It doesn't mean it's bad, mastery is still great, but haste and crit are better. The three stats actually work with each other very well, so by the time you hit Throne of Thunder, you can actually work on some mastery. Mastery is never something you wanna stack, but when you get a lot of crit and a lot of haste, it is not a terrible idea to leave like 1 or 2 pieces with mastery not reforced. Your rotation is deceptively easy actually. We are gonna evocate on cooldown for that 15% extra damage, and once again, you can still do it before the pull. You should evocate right before you pull the boss. After that, we're gonna do combustion on cooldown, but remember guys, combustion will need ignite dots to work, so do not do it on the opener, do it after you do everything else first. After that, yes, you do it on cooldown, but not on the opener, it will do nothing. After that, when we get a Pyroblast proc, and yes, there will be a Pyroblast proc Wikora in the Discord, you are gonna get your free Pyroblast, it's gonna do a ton of damage, it is instant, and it will do 25% extra damage actually, which turns into a dot, which in turn does a lot even more, boom boom. After that is gonna come Living Bomb. We wanna have it blow up and then refresh it again every single time. After that we're gonna do Inferno Blast on cooldown, and Inferno Blast is guaranteed to be a crit. Remember, you need 2 crits in a row to get a Pyroblast proc. There is a Wikora that will tell you when you get 1 crit, so you can do Inferno Blast on purpose after that to get 2 crits guaranteed, right? And that Wikora will be in the Discord. If you wanna super try hard, that's what you're supposed to do. Otherwise, just cast it on cooldown in this order and you're gonna be fine. Fire Mage is one of those classes that the more gear you get, the easier it gets to play rotation wise. And after that, our filler is gonna be Fireball. Now, as I said before, we are not taking Ice Flows, so if you need to move, you can do Cone of Cold as a filler, it does decent damage, or otherwise, you can also do Scorch. Now, if you're cleaving like 2 to like 4 targets, you can just do your normal DPS rotation and that's gonna be perfectly fine. I would put Cone of Cold over Fireball in that situation because it is, you can cleave, right? Don't forget guys that your Inferno Blast cleaves your dots, your ignite, so you're still gonna do a lot of damage. Also, I would put Living Bomb on the second target as well. However, your true AoE is not terrible, but it is clunky as hell. You see, here's the problem. Flame Strike sucks. You wanna be spamming spells to get those crits, to get that free Pyroblast, obviously, but Flame Strike is just a long spell that turns into a dot and it cannot crit more than once, so it sucks for AoE for you. Also, it takes so long to get on the ground that the mobs are probably gonna be almost dead by the time you get the Flame Strike off, so it is really not worth it. In those cases, you're gonna do Cone of Cold on cooldown and you are gonna be spamming Living Bomb in every single one of the mobs, as many as you can, and if all of them have Living Bomb, you can do like an Arcane Explosion as a filler until you can go back to spamming Living Bomb. The Fire Mage is really hurt for not having a true AoE fire spell. They just gotta cope with Living Bomb and Cone of Cold, which thankfully do decent damage, but yeah, this is why they never truly shine at big AoE pools, which is fine, there is not a lot of those, you know. Their AoE burst, however, is notoriously poor, so if the mobs do not have a lot of HP, I would just do like a single Cone of Cold and probably, as long as people don't get mad at me, I would go back to DPS in the boss. That's what I would do. Your meta gem is gonna be the Burning Primal Diamond for that 3% boom boom. Your red and your yellow gem actually are gonna be the Potent Vermilion Onyx for that intellect and crit, your 2 best stats of course, and your blue gem is gonna be the Piercing Wild Jade for crit and hit. There is no good blue gem without hit, so yes, if you got too much hit, you're gonna have to reforge around it, sadly. It is still worth taking. Your food is gonna be the Mogu Fish Stew for more intellect, your flask is gonna be the Flask of the Worm Sun for 1000 intellect, and your potion is gonna be the Potion of the Jade Serpent, which you can still indeed pre-pot before a fight. Don't forget to pre-pot before a fight. Now, pre-potting is actually very important for you as Fire because you are gonna open every fight with Presence of Mind and Pyroblast, so you can get an instant Pyroblast, right? But there is this other cooldown from mages that you gotta keep in mind. Alter time is gonna copy paste your buffs and you can press it again 6 seconds later to get it again. So that means you can get 2 presence of minds at the same time. You pop presence of mind, you pop alter time, and then you do a pyroblast, and then you pop alter time again to get back to your previous state, which is another presence of mind, and you can do a second pyroblast. Yes, it is very stupid. Of course, after the opener, you wanna use alter time to extend your bloodlust, but this should give you possibly the strongest opener in the game. I do not know of any spec that can give you more damage on a short burst at the start of a fight like the Fire Mage. Perhaps a survival hunter with rapid fire, perhaps. It is a lot of fun, that's all I wanna say. Overall, the Fire Mage is pretty much the same Fire Mage from Cataclysm, and that's great because everybody loves the Fire Mage from Cataclysm. It is perhaps not as strong, we're gonna have to see until the balance changes finally solidify, if they ever do. But you are looking at a strong, fun, and very well polished spec, and I think Fire will be easily the most popular spec in MoP, even though at some points Arcane might take over, or even Frost. Fire is in a really good spot, the rotation makes a lot of sense, it is very satisfying to play. What is there not to love about the Fire Mage? They got everything. We are gonna do a guide for every single spec in MoP, so stay tuned. We got, I think, 24 to go? Yeah, check out our Twitch in the description for more MoP pre-patch shenanigans. We're gonna be preparing a lot of characters. The goal is to get 24 tokens in GDKPs. That's a lot of raids we gotta do. And subscribe, join the Discord, and thank you for watching.